Right, I am going to distill the 3 main problems that we face right now and the 3 solutions to those problems. That's what this video is going to be about. Now, quite clearly, we are all up against a serious and dangerous problem right now in our world, that one of a tyrannical authoritarianism that has spread its tentacles across the world. And certainly has done in the West, and certainly has done in my country, in the United Kingdom. So that's the problem. But what are the 3 problems that explain why we are in this position? And more importantly, what are the solutions to those problems? They're actually more simple than many people would think. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, before I start, please subscribe if you haven't already to The Imperfect Individual. Give me a comment. Share this video. I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so essentially, why are we in this mess? Why are we in these dangerous waters? Okay, so the first strand to the problem is we're drowning in too much information. Everybody is drowning in too much information. And I think the effect of that is that it has resulted in so many people becoming disconnected from other people, becoming disconnected from maybe other ideas, becoming disconnected from each other, and becoming disconnected from nature, becoming disconnected from themselves. It's created this very claustrophobic atmosphere where I think, and I include myself in this completely, which is why I understand it, where people feel, like I say, claustrophobic, where information's just pouring in all the time from so many different sources, 24 hours a day. I would suggest this began with the advent of 24-hour rolling news, probably in America in the 80s, in the UK in the 90s, and then obviously with the advent of social media as well and smartphones. We are never more than 1 second away from information. We can look at our phones and we can have a look at our Facebook, our Twitter, we can go on YouTube, we can go on any media organisation's website, constantly being bombarded with information all the time. And I think what it does, it kind of results in this paralysis. It results in a paralysis where people feel helpless. They do not know what to believe. That's some people. And I think you have another group of people who will only allow themselves to be influenced by one particular strand of information. So that's resulted in a very polarized society. So you've got a subsection of people who've become very, very ideologically wedded to a particular set of ideas because they only will allow themselves to have access and to believe information that fits with their pre-existing beliefs. And then another subsection of people, and I include myself in this, who feel helpless really and don't know what to believe, are lacking in ability to trust, which is why I am so passionate about all of us remembering to use these and this. We need to remember to disengage from what other people are saying, no matter who they are, particularly and clearly politicians and media. But even friends and family and people contacts on social media, what are we seeing with our own eyes? What are we hearing with our own ears? And what's our intuition telling us? This is what we need to do as a society. This is the antidote to this problem of information overload. And building on that, not only do we need to re-engage with our own immediate worlds around us. Look, what are we seeing? What are we hearing? What is our own perception? What is our intuition telling us? Not only do we need to do that, but then we need to tell the world what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're feeling. That is the antidote to the problem. So quite clearly, that entails getting off our mobile phones or limiting the amount of time that we spend on our mobiles and just remembering. We don't need to feel like we need to be ahead of the game all the time. We don't really feel like we need to know what's coming around the corner. Who said what about what situation, what might happen in the future. Forget all about that now. I think most, if not all of us, are in some level of agreement about we are facing a horrendous tyranny. How do we start doing something about that? It's by removing ourselves from information. I always say, create, don't regurgitate. And I wish more people would do this, would maybe create videos like this with their own perception on things, write blogs, whatever it is. Do something that is in some way imparting an individual insight, an individual opinion, rather than just accessing other people's thoughts and sharing it mindlessly, because that's the information overload. And we're just in this, on this hamster's wheel, on this never-ending cycle, this negative feedback loop of information, and we're not, without really ever getting anywhere. And that's, of course, the whole point of it. You know, information is like a slow death by information. Yet the solution's so simple. Like I say, if we could just limit ourselves to the amount of information that we consume, as I've done. I came off Facebook ages ago. I came off all the Telegram groups. Now, what I try to do is, obviously I have my own YouTube channel and Telegram group. I try to elucidate to my subscribers how I see the world and what I think needs to be done, and ask for conversation around that. I think that's what needs to be done. And I feel better from disengaging from information. So that's point number one, the information war. Remove yourself from it, or at least try to remove yourself from it, limit the amount of information. Okay, second problem we face, and it's linked to the first, is, let's call it inertia, stagnation, complacency. I believe the vast majority of us have fallen prey to the kind of the perils of our age over the last couple of decades, which are, of course, convenience, comfort, complacency. We've become used to other people sorting out our problems. We've become used to not really facing an existential threat to our existence, with the caveat that quite clearly, while many of us were thinking that, lurking in the background with their devious plans and their plots, were dark forces that we couldn't see, that were putting these plans into place. But I think much of society has lapsed into this lethargy, into this complacency. And yes, now it is rousing itself, but still too slowly. We need to make sure those of us who are switched on in some way to what's going on and are trying to do something about it, are trying to do something about it, not just, again, like I said before, by sharing posts on Facebook, sharing posts on Telegram, but putting ourselves out there. What do we think? Influencing other people. Let other people around you see what you think and what you're doing about it. So that could be going to protests. It could be actively nurturing and trying to set up those connections and friendships with people in the local area. Grow the numbers. Get out there. Start influencing other people, challenging other people, completely peacefully, of course, about what they're thinking about, what's going on. Otherwise, we continue to sleepwalk into tyranny, and we are deep into it now, very, very deep. We need to make sure this inertia isn't the death of us, this stagnation isn't the death of us, and this inability to rouse ourselves, get out there and connect with others and influence those who maybe aren't necessarily aware of the problem. So we are and again, I include myself in this, because I say to myself every day, Dave, right, what are you going to do today? What content are you going to create that's going to influence people? Make sure you're going to be on point with what you're saying. Are you going to communicate as best you can with the other connections that you've made? Are you going to try and get out there? Are you going to do something about it, about this situation? Are you going to bring some energy? Are you going to bring some leadership? That's what we need: energy, leadership, inspiration. That's what we need. We need to feel invigorated, and we need to remember, and this is the critically important thing, don't anyone ever leave it to other people. Don't be looking like this around. Oh, they're going to do something about it. No one should be absolving themselves of their personal responsibility at the moment to do something about this. It is the only way that we defeat this tyranny, is if enough individually stand up and say, no, I I'm going to say no, first of all, to this. And I am also going to use my own individual power to impart some positivity, some energy into the world around me. So we need to get out this inertia. Don't stagnate. Don't be complacent at all. And certainly don't look to others to do it for us. And absolutely, definitely do not look to politicians to find a way out this mess. They don't want to. It's up to us. So there's the problem. There's the solution number 2. Number 3, we live in a misanthropic society, by and large. Let me try and explain. Many of the narratives that underpin the changes that have happened, that have been justified, and the narratives that the media are constantly spinning and constantly telling us every single second of every single day, are underpinned by a misanthropic thread. If you think about it, I remember Brexit. I remember the utter hatred that was channeled through the media with regard to Brexit. Trump as well. These people can't be trusted with democracy, essentially. These people are thick. These people are racist. These people are xenophobic. These people are white supremacists. This democratic outcome needs to be overturned. We can also see it in the view of they're called the liberal elite. There's nothing liberal about them. I call them communists. And again, it's a view that is bought into by a lot of people in society with regard to an allegedly racist society that we have in this country, when, like everything else, it's inverted. You know, the UK has always been one of the most open and tolerant countries in the world. You see it in our food, in our restaurants, in our places of worship. I've never seen racism in my life, which isn't to say it doesn't exist, but the story that the media want you to believe is that this is a fundamentally racist country, a fundamentally racist society. The West is fundamentally racist. Well, it's not, but they want you to believe that because they want you to be suspicious of your fellow man and woman, of your neighbour, of your family and friends. They want you to believe the worst in everybody. That's what they want. We see it in the climate change debate, or should I say lack of debate, because there isn't one. Human beings are good for nothing other than destroying the planet. Well, that's not the case either, is it? And there is a debate to be had about climate change. And one that isn't being had, but the underpinning story of it is that human beings are destroying this planet. That's it. All human beings are responsible for it. Well, that's not it, is it? That is not the case. There needs to be a sensible debate about what damage we are doing to this planet, and then a sensible debate about how this may translate into potentially some change with regard to the climate. But it's this misanthropic thread, again, that goes through everything, pitting one group against another, classic, I would say, communist tactics. And I would certainly argue, as I have done before, you can check out some of my earlier videos with regard to a communist takeover of the West, that it can only be done by pitting groups against one group against another. And the only way you do that is to create a very misanthropic rage within society, which actually we do have. So what's the antidote to that? Well, the antidote to that is that it's easy, isn't it? It's easy to look around and feel anger. And I have done feel ire, feel a real kind of disrespect for the way many people are behaving. Easy to do that and just focus on that. However, the antidote to that, the light to the dark, is that there are so many amazing people at the moment. I know loads of them who aren't misanthropic at all, who have realised that they are living in a society now that is very, very sick, but they realise that they are the ones who are going to help heal it. These are the amazing people who are altruistic, not misanthropic, who don't just see the worst in people, who see that the best in people need to be harnessed in order to make and to create a better society. What choice do we have? in this world now, where, as I say, I'm not going to beat about the bush, we are living in dangerous, dangerous times. We don't have long left. The only way, as I said at the start, to defeat this tyranny is to realise our own individual power and to connect with others who are also realising and using their own individual power in a very, very productive and creative and altruistic way. So when the media tries to divide us, when the media tries to influence us to think the worst of particular groups of people, whoever they may be, don't let them, don't believe them. They have no power over the way that we view other people. We need to remember that it is people who build, it's people who destroy societies, yeah, but it is people who build societies. And I know there are enough amazing people in this world. There's enough amazing people in my immediate circle to do this. Even if we are in the minority, we can and we will do this. Because we're not misanthropic. We don't think the worst of everyone just because they're a person. No. So we need to be altruistic. We need to remember that the process of building a better society is to connect with other people. Build those communities. Let them flourish. So they're the three problems and they're the three solutions. And for me, they are genius in their simplicity because it is so, so simple, the solution to all of this. Not easy, but simple in its essence. So I would suggest they're the three problems that underpin why we are facing this tyrannical oppression. And they're the three solutions. And we all need to, on an individual level, implement those solutions right now. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye.